2, 1, go. I will now switch the scene on OBS for the viewers at home. Oh, it sounds like live broadcasting. The viewers at home. And here we go now. One thing that we've not actually spoken about at all in any of these casts where we've seen the Incas is the free llama that they start with. And Viper there just going to town, taking that llama and sorting his food income out to begin with. I should do a proper introduction. Welcome, guys, to the Escape Gaming Masters lower bracket now with TheViper and Dogao. Who would have thought TheViper and Dogao in the lower bracket? One of these players will be going home after this game. And we've got TheViper in the red, playing as the Incas. And up to the northwest of the map, in the blue, we have Dogao playing as the Ethiopians. With me once again is Resonance22.
As always, it's great to be here. This is going to be quite a good game. I can feel it, and mostly because of the map choice and the players and these civilizations. I do see, though, that right off the bat that the Viper had a pretty solid start. And you were talking a little bit about this llama that the Incas start with as part of their civ bonuses. This allowed the Viper to get quite a solid start. He can just immediately start harvesting with that llama. He doesn't need to wait to find his sheep. And speaking of that, Dogao had a lot of trouble finding his sheep. He actually had to long-distance gather from his forage bushes. He knows, though, not to mill those and instead just wait for those sheep to come in. And he did find them, but it's little things like that which will slow him down just a bit and give Viper a very tiny edge.
Yeah, Viper's gonna get more than a tiny edge. She's stealing 2 sheep and a boar right now.
Oh my god.
As he pulls that boar across the map. Like, Viper's in the lower bracket. He's gonna do anything it takes to win.
Oh my god.
He's not afraid. This is the first laming we've ever seen in this event, or last event, like stealing boar-wise. And let's not forget that the boars do bonus damage versus these scouts now. But Viper dragging that boar, kicking, screaming, across the map, and Dogao is just being shafted by this. Like, absolutely. Where's his resources at?
What a disastrous opening for Dogao. Not only could he not find his initial sheep for quite a bit, but the Viper doing everything he can to stay in this tournament. And wow, that's a colossal early game lead. Having an extra boar, and not only that, that's a boar down for Dogao. Really going to slow him down. And I would say that this is quite devastating for the Ethiopians particularly, because they really try to revolve around that power spike that they get, that 100 food and 100 gold, leveraging that for some sort of more aggressive strategies or very solid fast castle age. And here, without a boar, Dogao's going to be a lot slower.
Yeah, I mean, Dogao's option could to go across the map and steal one back, but that's not going to happen now. And so Viper's going to be plus 2 sheep, plus a boar, and that's a total of 540 food. That's enough to click to the feudal age alone. That's an extra 540 free food without needing to spend any wood on farms or anything like that. Now, obviously, both players still have the same number of villagers gathering at the same time, so it's not like the advantage is astronomical, but the difference is it's more subtle than that. It just means that Viper can delay farming. It means he's going to have a better control of where he wants to spend his resources in the early game, and the small benefit, I guess, is the fact that also the boar gather a lot faster than any other type of food source for these villagers, so they're going to be gathering slightly faster from this. But it's certainly not a situation that Dogao could not come back from. This is certainly still very interesting. And if we look at Dogao, he's started a house wall on this right side, and he's actually going to say, well, you know what? Okay, boars, they gather pretty quick, but I can go faster than fast. I can go fastishished, and I can grab the shorefish. We're here, and for those of you who don't know, shorefish is actually the fastest means of gathering food with villagers.
Oh yeah, it is such a fast, efficient food source that almost never comes into play. It's worth noting that it's very inefficient from a fishing ship, but if you actually manage to mill that, then wow, that is efficient. The Viper, by the way, pulling in his boars just a little bit early, I think as, just an extra precaution to make sure that Dogao doesn't get an opportunity to steal it back. And speaking of this mill, this reveals to us that Dogao has a very bizarre map generation for Gold Rush.
Oh yeah.
He has such an easy wall off, but it comes at a price. His stone is actually outside of this. He has 4 deer on the outside as well, and he's already almost completely walled off, and he has a gold mine in here. It's ridiculous.
Oh, his map's hilarious, actually. I was going to mention this before, but we were pretty distracted by the boar stealing and such. It's such an easy wall. I mean, this is supposed to be an open map. Look at Viper's map. Like, he wishes he had this, but no. Dogao, like 5 pieces of palisade and a couple of houses. No problem. He's walled up. He could turtle behind this, but it does come at a risk as well. You know, turtling is kind of dangerous in the sense that, well, you give your opponent entire map control.
Man, if only Dogao was the Indians. The Indians actually shorefish faster, which I have, so far, since The Forgotten came out, have never seen that be relevant. But this would have been a great game for that. It's worth noting that Dogao's map is so nice that if the Viper wanted to drop a forward watchtower to deny that golden wood, it's not even going to be that effective. This wood line is just thick enough, and this gold mine is just far enough away that he won't be able to do too much damage. The Viper has a very, very, very safe main gold, too. It is... Oh my god, it's like 3-4 tiles away from his town center.
Yeah, it's incredibly close. And that's pardon me, super safe. I'm wondering, though, why is he taking gold right now? He's actually 25 villagers. Is he just going to do a naked fast castle? It could be.
Please be a fast Imperial Age with the extra boar, but I don't think so. I think it's going to be an absurdly quick fast castle age. I mean, I say that though, but he is going up on 27 pop, so he's going to end up having some extra gold in the bank here. So we'll have to see what he spends that on. Okay, he's actually going to snag Loom. Fearing a little bit of that early aggression. Don't want to delay it too much. This isn't like Hideout or Arena. You could end up getting attacked. But I don't think that Dogao is going to try anything too crafty. I think he's going for a fast castlage as well. His map is excellent for that. Dogao has his economy also set up quite nicely. I think he... Will he actually have enough food, though?
Who, Dogao?
Yeah.
Well, he's seeding more farms, so...
Oh, he's got 5 on...
But I'm just looking now. Yeah, I mean, more village and gold. It's gonna be tough. He's got 5 on berries. He's got 3 on gold. I think he needs a couple more farms here still, or maybe he could long distance fish these shore fish. I'm not sure, but what I'm interested in is why is Viper not bothered to push his deer in? I know it's like, okay, I've got a free couple of sheep and a free boar, but it's still worth pushing the deer in my opinion. At the moment, his scout's not achieving much, but maybe he's putting really a lot of value on the fact that he doesn't know what's going on behind there, and Dogao could bust out with some militia and really catch him out. So perhaps he doesn't want to risk being caught with a drush in his economy.
Yeah, I think that might be the mindset that he has right now, and the Viper putting out a barracks. None from Dogao yet, so this is pretty telling that he just wants to sit back and relax. The Viper really stockpiling that gold. He's at 230-ish gold right now, and he's not even up to the Feudal Age. Dogao is up to the Feudal Age, though. And how is his economy looking? I think he was relying on the additional 100 food and 100 gold by advancing, but the thing is that he has way too many gold miners if he was going to rely on that. And he's putting his barracks at the back. He's hiding this completely.
Well, I think the answer actually would have been to build a market, and then he would have been able to buy the food because of the gold, for the free gold. I think he's still going to do a decent time, actually, anyway. With these 2 villages, he will just idle his TC and let the farms and the berries do the rest.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
With the barracks at the back, though, it's really interesting. Blacksmith here, he's sending 1 villager out, and she is going to go and build, I assume, a stable. Yeah, it's going to be a stable. Right in the middle of the map. It's very unlikely that Viper would scout this, actually, but he's still moving his scout around. This is interesting. This is really interesting.
What I like about this play is that Dogao just reveals so little information to the Viper, and the Viper right now is ravenous for any scouting information he can get. Just patrolling his Eagle Scout right across the front of the space. He's only going to see the Blacksmith, which reveals nothing. And putting this barracks at the back, he could have put this at the front. Putting the barracks at the back means that the Viper has absolutely nothing to go on. This could just mean that Dogao is just trying to boom. We haven't even seen a single military building. And it looks like Dogao is going for that fast castling into the Knights. He actually did set this up basically perfectly. And even though the Ethiopians don't have bloodlines, the extra 100 food and 100 gold that they get allows them to have quite a good Night Rush.
Right now, I think Dogao is basically even with Viper. They both clicked up to the Castle Age on 30 population. Viper's only maybe 10% ahead of the upgrade, and Dogao has more resources banked. Let's not forget that once he hits the Castle Age, he'll also get another 100 food and gold. So Dogao's in a fantastic spot, I feel. He's going to go 1 TC aggression, I feel, in this position. He's going to rely on surprise to try and catch Viper out. And Viper, meanwhile, is pretty open, to be honest. He's actually walling a little bit more now. But I wonder if he's actually going to close this or not. He does see the scout from Dogao, maybe feeling a little bit worried about what's happening next, because he might have missed something, and he would be right, because Dogao did sneak that villager out.
He is quite lucky, though, to have that gold mine so safe at the back. It's going to make it quite difficult for Dogao to get any very solid rating off of. Both players in a very even position. Dogao going to lose his scout, and the Viper pushing out with his archers. Dogao does have a window of opportunity because the Knights do deal quite nicely with those crossbowmen until the crossbowmen reach that critical mass, and then the matchup starts to flip around entirely. So we'll see if Dogao can get some good pickoffs here, because both players so close to the Castle Age, and they're going to hit it right about now.
And Viper so close to seeing that skibble as well. If he just went 1 tile up, he would have seen it, but no, it sticks there inside of the fog of war, and Dogao is going to continue with this sneaky beakiness. But like you said, you know, the woodline's just thick enough, the gold's just far enough away that crossbows will not actually be able to do any damage from behind these walls. So for Dogao, he's probably feeling fairly safe back here. His economy is set up perfectly for this. He's got a decent number of farms. He'll add some more, I think, and got enough gold in the bank to at least make 3 or 4 knights here. Well, way more than that even. He can make a good 5 knights and get raiding. But Viper straight up with the second town center. I'm really questioning if this raiding from Dogao will work. If not, he could at least try and clean up the army from Viper and take map control.
Wow, this strategy from Dogao would have been so strong if he didn't have, like, if he actually had both of his boars. But the thing is he didn't. And this is kind of slowing down his build a bit. We see the Viper gonna pull ahead economically, putting down that second town center, and he's just able to do this because he has that extra boar, which gave him that extra boost early on. And the Viper's going to have a bit of trouble breaking down these walls, but he's focus firing down the palisades, should be able to get through that. Dogao with the forward siege workshop as well, and I think what he's going to do is he actually going to pull this back?
He has to go back. He has to go back, otherwise he'll lose, because he can't wall behind this. He tried a moment ago to wall behind it, and the crossbows just killed his villager. And he's going to go now again with another villager as his knights come in. His knights don't have bloodlines. They've only got +1 defense, whilst Viper has got Bodkin Arrow done. He could clean up these knights with this army. I guess it depends if Dogao is able to bring more in and if he's able to get a good mangonel shot. But yeah, Dogao had to go back. Otherwise, Viper would have got in, and that would have been game over, I feel, for Dogao there. Unless he built a tower, perhaps, in defense.
Yeah, I almost like the defensive tower idea, because I feel like he's forfeiting a lot of pressure, and then now his mangonel is to walk all the way across the map, but I completely understand why he did that. I do think, though, that this engagement was a bit premature, losing a knight almost for free there. Now he's pulling back one of these knights. I don't really know why, maybe to deal with that wolf, and this just seems like some not excellent micro from Dogao, and the Viper going to narrowly dodge that mangonel shot.
Yeah, that was very, very close. Dogao having the mangonel is really nice, though. We see Viper trying to make a monastery, but he failed because Dogao has a rogue mangonel just chilling. Viper actually adding in an Eagle Scout here, which is a great idea, and that will certainly counter the mangonel. How much more damage can it do? Probably none.
Yeah.
Unless, actually, well, the Knights are coming in, but I think the mangonel's going to go down anyway. 2 more hits, 1 more hit.
The Eagle Scout actually has a I think it's +3 attack bonus versus siege weapons, I believe, allowing them to kill a mangonel in a nice clean 4 attacks, and if it didn't, then that would take quite a few more. I think the Viper reacting to that really well by making that 1 Eagle Scout. Now he's got his defensive monastery up. You know, his map might be super open, but he's done a pretty good job closing this. Dogao is in a good position where he is able to apply a lot of pressure, making the Viper pull back because Dogao's base is so well defended. It was looking really dicey if actually Dogao's wall got busted. But I don't think this will be enough, as the Viper can easily just make like a single monk, and I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, Dogao now adding a second C as he gets really aggressive here. Adding in the battering ram, making more mangonels. And this Yeah, I thought that was going to be interesting on the left side with the Mangonel, but that's just going to get cleaned up by Viper's split micro. Easily taking that down isn't just one crossbow. At the same time, the Ram's coming in, that's nice, but Viper here with the Monk is going to really make it difficult for Dogao to push in with these Knights because he doesn't want to risk losing them. It's too valuable to lose at this stage.
It's a gigantic momentum swing when you end up losing a Knight to a conversion. The Viper's doing such a good job defending this. I mean, this battering ram's going to die almost for free anyway. It's not even going to be able to kill the archer range. Oh, Dogao does have quite a few Knights. I think that this will be kind of good for him because he will be able to clean up a couple of these crossmen, which are just getting caught out of position. Nice!
Yeah, and Viper did Dogao's Mangonel out, and, you know, Dogao responds by catching Viper's crossbows out, so that definitely helps things a little bit. But just look at the score difference at this stage already. I know the score doesn't tell us everything, but it certainly tells us something, and that is that Viper is ahead right now. With his second TC being up a little longer, he's ahead with villagers, he's got a larger army, he's even starting to make some spears now to deal with the knights, and that kind of tells me that Viper's happy to play a defensive game for the mid game whilst he booms up a little bit. And maybe Dogao can take advantage of that. I actually feel like Viper should be more aggressive now and actually stop Dogao from expanding and getting a safe place to build his second and third TC. Because right now, Dogao is moving out and he's going to be able to equalize, I feel, if Viper plays so defensively.
Yeah, this is actually very bad for Dogao, but he has almost complete map control because the Viper is playing so very defensively. He might even lose this archer range, and now Dogao is able to safely move out, grab his stone. This game is looking quite hard for Dogao, but it's not over yet because he has that map control, and we have a Mangonel in here, so all we need is just one really good Mangonel shot for Dogao, and maybe he can claw his way back in this. Looks like the Viper, though, is going to make the right decision and try and move out, sit on top of this hill. It's going to come down to a Mangonel shot and a well-executed engage. Can Dogao do it?
Well, I think he wants to aim for the monks with the Mangonels. That's certainly the case right now because he doesn't want to risk losing the knights, as we said already. It's a really difficult engagement for Dogao, though, because there's even pikes in here now as well. And the Mangonel has to do something. It can't just go down for free. And Dogao, I think he's going to lose the Mangonel. Okay, he gets one shot, but it does nothing at all. And this is a bad fight for Dogao now, as one knight gets converted, and he's left outnumbered and pretty countered hard, or hard countered even.
Absolute disaster for Dogao. He had to keep his knights back defensively to try and pick off those pikemen so he wouldn't lose that Mangonel, because he needed that Mangonel to kill those monks, to threaten those crossmen. And as a result, he took so much free damage, he ended up losing a knight to a conversion, and I just think that the Viper has such a well-executed army comp. I mean, it's expensive. He had to tech into a lot of things. He had to build a monastery, he had to get the pikeman upgrade, he has to get crossbowmen, bodkin arrow. But now this is an army that's quite difficult to deal with, and Dogao just can't get a good engagement with his choice of units.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so hard with a one-unit army composition. I mean, Dogao's even having a hard time killing the knights which were converted. They were his knights once upon a time, and now they're fighting for the enemy, which is no good for Dogao. But, I mean, it can easily be swung around by a nice Mangonel shot or two. We've seen it before. The game is certainly not over, and I think Dogao is saving for a castle as well now, as he starts mining his forward stone. I think this is fine for him. 2 TCs, he's going to allow him to do a bit more aggression and invest a little bit more in military. And hopefully get the number advantage over Viper and overwhelm him. I think that's what he's looking to do here. At the same time, if he can drop a castle down towards the center of the map, he could at least maybe deny some gold from Viper as the game goes on. So this could be a good opportunity for Dogao to pull himself back in. He just has to find the right engagement. And with two stable knight production, I feel like he will be starting to amass a very significant army here.
Wow, the Viper actually attempting to start a conversion on that siege workshop. Such a powerful army comp that he has, and even though this monk is slow as hell, it will actually survive the Mangonel shot, only getting nicked by it on the shoulder. And then he gets the conversion, so the Viper really getting value out of his monks. Wow, this is such a strong situation for him.
And it's the same with the Meso Civs in every situation. They always have such good monks, and we see that here with Viper getting all those really valuable technologies to help his monks be put to more use. But Dogao just opting is, okay, I can't engage your army head on. I can't fight your army. I will lose. I'm going to try and raid. But the problem here is Viper already has Bodkin Arrow, Ethiopians, no bloodlines on these knights, no +2 defense right here. And Dogao's army of knights are just so weak under this TC. I feel like this is falling apart for Dogao, and maybe knights weren't the best unit choice for him. Looking at the tech tree, you see no bloodlines there, so yeah, I'm really concerned for Dogao.
Also, more importantly, I think you encourage your opponent, if you go for knights in this matchup, to just make units that are just strong and feel natural for the Incas. By going for knights like this, you're kind of banking on being able to kill them quickly, because without bloodlines, your matchup versus crossmen is so much worse, and the Incas totally don't mind making some defensive monks, some defensive pikemen. If you end up going for something like crossbowmen as the Ethiopians, you naturally have much better archers than the Incas do, so that gives you a little bit of an edge, and well, the Knights just can't really do too much with the wall off these defensive town centers. The Viper in a commanding position.
So many Wallalos this game, and Viper now pushing out. Well, now the time is right. I like how he converted the stable and the siege workshop as well,
Yeah.
just to reduce Dogao's military production. He can't even use the stable as the Incas, but he's going to at least take control of it so that Dogao cannot. And he's just got a great composition. Dogao really banking on this castle, but he's not built it yet. He's had enough stone to build this castle for years, but he's still not built it. And the rest of these knights from Dogao are going to get chewed up here by these monks and by these pikes. I don't see what he's going to do with this army. It's just not an efficient unit choice at all, as we see the final stable being converted there. Gotta love those Wallalos.
The only thing that can keep Dogao in this game is actually going to be the castle that he is putting in the middle of the map. He's starting construction now. He has so many villagers here. This is at the bottom of the hill and surrounded by a hill on all sides. It's not great, but it will importantly deny the Viper from getting too much gold. He is going to have to move that. Earlier on, it's also worth noting that Dogao couldn't really transition to anything else because his economy was too small. He didn't really have the resources. But at this point in the game, he's no longer shoehorned into knights. He has almost 500 of each resource in the bank. He could definitely transition into something else. He's not that far behind economically. There's only a 10 population advantage for the Viper.
Well, actually, Dogao here is transitioning into crossbowman, which is an interesting choice given how many mangonels the Viper has sitting on this hill here. But they would be good versus the pikes. They can deal with the monks pretty easily, and Viper has crossbows as well. But look at this, Viper now is just responding with a castle on his own hill as well. And this is an advantage for Viper for sure. You'd always, 100% of the time, rather have the castle on the hill. But Dogao, Shotel, warriors. How are the Shotels going to fare here? There's a lot of archers out. That's kind of scary. But these guys are masters of raiding. Maybe that could be the answer for Dogao.
But without any sort of armor on these guys, they are so bad versus those mass crossmen. And talk about good castle placement. This is basically the best this castle could be positioned, because Dogao can't mine any gold with this one, whereas Dogao's own castle does not apply enough pressure to the Viper's own middle gold. And, well, wow, he's just going to call GG there. So the Viper, with a relatively commanding victory. GG.
Yeah, Dogao fell apart, and I mean, to be honest, it was pretty rough for him, losing the boar and losing the 2 sheep. It's always very difficult to come back from that kind of position. Now, if it had been the other way around, if Viper had 2 sheep less and 2 boar less, maybe Dogao would have been a commanding, leading commanding in a commanding way. I can't get my words out right now, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's hard to say, and these guys are both such great players. It's a shame to see such a dominating victory from the Viper.
Yeah, I think it just all boils down to the Viper. I mean, obviously he played very well, and Dogao did too, but the Viper had such a strong early game with that extra boar and the 2 sheep. That really slows it down. And I think that Dogao had quite a good build, but it was just very weakened by the lack of food resources that he had. Yeah,
absolutely. Let's just take a quick look at the map before we check the check the achievements. Viper, in the end there, had got the 3rd TC up, and he wasn't really feeling too much pressure from Dogao's knights. We did see a small raid coming in over here, but they died so quickly to the town center with the +2 attack. And so I think Viper bided his time and waited for the upgrades to come in on the monastery before pushing out. And then once he had those upgrades, he was very easily able to counter Dogao's knights. And I don't think knights is really ever a good idea as the Ethiopians, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's the type of thing where you have to really leverage that 100 food and 100 gold to make them worth it at all. Because at least you can get to the castle age quickly and pump out a couple of them, but they fall off very, very fast. Because, again, like, during the castle age, that extra 150, the 100 food and then 100 gold is not doing anything for you. At least if you're the Vikings or something like that, the free hand card is constantly giving you that edge. And we see here, it really just backfired for them.
Yeah, I completely agree. So let's take a quick look at the achievements real quick before we throw it over to Nilford. Dogao there killed the most units, surprisingly, but he also lost quite a lot more as well. Largest army, way in favor of the Viper. Economy-wise, surprisingly, again, Dogao actually had gathered a lot more resources in gold, food, and stone. But you know what? Let's throw it across to Nilford, and he can give us the final analysis of the day.
I will say really quickly before I end off my own personal recording, in that this game was closer than it seemed. Dogao really wasn't behind much economically at all, as we can see from the achievements and during the actual game itself. So that was why this game, it was kind of a stomp militarily, but not economically. Normally in a game like this, we fear that the player that is behind might have a really, really small economy and absolutely no chance of a comeback, but Dogao had the money, certainly, to stage that kind of comeback. But it really just came down to some very good decision-making from the Viper, and then the Viper just had such a good early game. So, GG well played. I hope you guys enjoyed watching some of the Escape Gaming Masters games and enjoyed my commentary with ZeroEmpires. Feel free to let the other channels know if you would like to see me doing some more co-casting with them, and just let us know what you thought. The games this time were not as good as the ones from Battle for Angkor. I was hoping for some like really long epic games and do some like scheduling error. I only get to cast 4 this time, but overall I really enjoyed myself, and there's plenty more awesome Age of Empires 2 content on the way. You got links to all the other games in the description below. Particularly the first couple of them were really solid, and I hope that you guys just enjoyed it. Lots of great stuff on the horizon. I think by the time I post this, I'll have already made my big announcement. So yeah, it's a big month and a big year for Age of Empires 2. Thank you for the support as always, and I'll see you all next time.